Write a letter, don't write a letter, send an email, send a text message, throw it all out there, make it simple. What do I do if I'm in the place where I know I need to take space from my parent, where there's zero communication? The first thing I want to tell you is write a letter that's just for you and put it all in there, because nobody else is going to read it except you. Hold that space for yourself. Let it rip. 2, don't burn it. No matter what you do, no matter what people say, don't burn it. You can put it away where you never see it until you want to see it. It's a great way of validating your growth and what you went through and how you were feeling and thinking at the time. It's such a good measure of your own personal journey, progress, and something that's going to help you to stop gaslighting yourself when you start thinking, oh, was it that bad? Or, those things that we inevitably start to think about, like maybe it was me, or, all that stuff. And so having that letter, and I speak from personal experience, and I speak from the experience of a therapist who works with clients who are from narcissistic family systems. Some of my clients will be in relationships forever with their parents because their parents are not only working to be in a relationship with them, but their parents are also more the kinds of parents who pass down trauma rather than the intentional, daily, insidious, layered abuse kind of thing. Some of my clients are in low contact and they go to the holidays once a year because they want to maintain connections with other people that they value, and this allows them to do that. Some of them are completely no contact when they come to me. Some are going through the process of making that determination. So I want to paint a picture just to let people know that I'm not like out here going, this is how you do it. This is, well, it's intolerable, just leave. This is not that. I was an estranged parent. I've been on the receiving end. It lasted under 3 years. It was on and off. My daughter and I have been solid for over 20 years now. And no, she didn't write me a letter. I knew what I did. Okay. And she needed that break from me. And maybe I needed that break to reflect and to be able to be a mother that helped her heal rather than a mother who helped her to feel worse about her life, kind of thing. So I don't think that it was all bad. I wish that I had had the emotional maturity to have not done the things that created it in the first place. And if I wasn't able to get to that place, to have the emotional maturity when things were going sideways, to be more proactive. I didn't. That's where I was. I had my daughter when I was 17 years old, and I didn't. So when I'm talking about how to, go through this process, I'm not coming at it from one lens. I'm coming at it from a lens of many experiences, not the least of which are my own, and then the ones that I have in dealing with clients and other professionals who work in my field. For me personally, having that letter to reflect back on, and I had forgotten I had it. It was many years before I saw it again, before I looked at it. Looking back at that 22, 23-year-old girl, I recognized that I wrote her that letter really hoping that she would be horrified for how much pain she caused me and come and be my mommy. And I'm so glad to have that to reflect on, because it really reminds me, 1, of how far I've come, and 2, of how vulnerable I was and how truly devoid of any human emotions my mother was. To be able to look at that letter, read that letter, if she did, and just continue to turn her back on me and pretend like she did nothing, serves as a validation. So I don't regret writing it. I do regret giving it to her, though. 2 separate parts, because I don't regret it now. There was a point where I regretted it. Now I don't really care. There was also a point where I felt, oh my gosh, I just gave her yet another layer of power, because now she knows for sure in writing that she has destroyed my life, that she's given me a lifelong trauma body memory that I will forever be dealing with, and that my life is never going to be okay. Because really, when I look back at that letter, I say things like, or allude to, how I'm always going to be damaged because of that. Thankfully, that's not true because of what she did. And thankfully, that's not true. The validation I gave her really bothered me for a while. I got over it. It's fine. See, we do get over things. And I'm fine. I just don't see the benefit of having done that. There was no upside to it. What would have I done? Just a simple goodbye, wishing her greater good or whatever, wishing her well, high roading it for my own well-being, not because I would mean it necessarily, but rather to kind of let her know that I'm going to be okay, even though she tried to make me not okay. And that there's no value in continuing in a relationship with someone who I now recognize is, I'll say the devil here. I wouldn't say that in a letter, but I would put something to the effect of, you know what? I recognize there's no value in continuing on in a relationship with you at this point in time, because I didn't know it was going to be forever. So I'm going back to that perspective. And it's really unfortunate that you don't want to come to the table to have a healthy, loving, safe relationship. And I accept that that's where you are. And I accept that my journey doesn't include you as well. That kind of thing. That's what I would have done. And I would have done that because it just would have made me feel like I have some closure. If I were writing it to somehow do reputation damage for other people who weren't leaning in to see if I was okay, that's not the right reason to write a letter, because you're not doing it for you, you're doing it for something external. And so the next thing that I tell clients that I advise or that I ask, why are you doing it? What are your expectations? How does it make you feel? And, what is it you really want to take away from this? That will also help you to write the letter, the text, or the email that serves you, because this is about your healing, not about how they perceive you, not about how hurt they will or won't be. Likely, as a child who grew up underneath a narcissistic mother, you've been so conditioned to take care of her feelings, or father, to take care of their feelings, that your instinct is to find a way to walk away and still save their feelings. And there is a betrayal of self in that, because you're still doing the same thing that they conditioned you to do, taking on the job that was never yours. Walking away is you taking on the job that you are left with, which is parenting yourself. I won't say reparent. We don't get parented from these types of mothers and fathers. Healing yourself and taking accountability for your life and your decisions and doing better, right? And so if you're writing that so that you can save and spare their feelings, while that is a great reflection on the fact that you are a loving and compassionate human being, it is also a reflection on that you're probably fawning and people-pleasing, and you're throwing your love and compassion towards somebody who didn't show you any. And it's not a tit for tat. It's a prioritization that's important in this part of the healing process. I'm personally a fan of saying something, just because I think that there is some closure in there for the person who's walking away. And it may not be forever. It isn't always forever. I see the majority of the time, and I include myself in that, although it didn't happen. Well, yeah, I guess it did. I was on and off with my mother for the first 6 years before we were officially estranged. So I guess I did keep going back and forth. I did it again at 17 because she inflicted herself upon me and showed up, kind of thing. I lost my train of thought a little bit. I'm sorry. Anyway, within the first 3 years, most children, adult children who are going through the no contact process will come back in. And sometimes when you come back in, you find somebody who has actually gone to therapy or is willing to go to therapy, and repair can happen there. And sometimes, unfortunately, more times than not, you find the same, and there's a validation in that, and then there's another layer of decisions to be made. Can you manage that? If you can, why do you want to? That sort of thing. So, I guess the long and short of it is that most of the time, I think approaching this as a break, unless you know for sure you're never going to go back, is the most honest way to go, and probably the one that's appropriate. If you feel that I don't even see that light on the horizon, then you treat it as something that's permanent. And, that doesn't mean that you can't change your mind and that you can't, go and see what's going on if that's where you are at that point in time. It's not an all or nothing, black or white situation. There is an area of gray in there. And it really depends on what's going on in your personal situation in that relationship at that time. So to write or not write, I'm a fan of writing something short and sweet for the other person. And by sweet, I don't mean caretaking of them. I mean sweet for you. And a fan of writing something that is completely and open, honest, venting, purging, all the things that you keep and then you can reflect on later. One of the biggest gifts out of the letter that I wrote to my mother, that was a gift to myself that I would have had no way of knowing, was the gift of self-compassion. I really learned to love that 20-something-year-old girl when I read that letter the first time, and every time since. And that has been a tremendously healing part of my journey. It took me a long time to love the little girl who had no autonomy whatsoever, who was completely vulnerable and dependent for her survival on these adults that I had in my life that, did what they did, right? My mother being at the forefront of that. I didn't realize how much that 20-something-year-old girl needed my love as well, and how much healing that would bring me. So I hope this video helps you. To estranged parents out there, follow the people that are where you want to be. Look for the people who've repaired their estrangements, not the ones who say things like, well, if I had to do it all over again. I see those videos and they're still not taking the kind of accountability that's going to be helpful for you. Look to where you would like to be. And even if your adult child doesn't come back, learning better tools to be a more secure person in a relationship is going to improve your life, full stop. So there's no lose there. Even if you yourself don't want to end up back in a relationship with your estranged adult child, I recognize that happens. Go and get the tools that you need so that you feel secure in yourself and in the relationships that you have, that you aren't going through reacting in ways that push people away, that keeps you, on the run, trying to control the people around you and never at peace. If you do that and your adult child comes back, you have a shot at repair. And if you do that and your adult child doesn't come back, you have a shot at a better existence for yourself. And to my estranged adult children out there, I've been estranged for over 30 years. This is not a journey I would wish on anyone. And I think that the estranged parents that truly don't want to understand that, I didn't say don't understand that, and make it seem like it's so easy for us. Nobody would choose to be an adult orphan. That's not the natural order of things, and that isn't what our primal need is either. Our primal need is to have connection and family and safety and love that we can rely upon. This isn't an easy thing. So to my estranged adult children out there, we're all healing together, and keep on moving forward, and don't forget where you came from. Don't forget your progress. Don't forget to look at that and show yourself a lot of love, because we all need love, because you deserve it. I'll see you soon.